Welcome to Lever Up Your Life. I'm Nate Barger. I went from prison time and bankruptcy to now owning over $200 million in real estate. I want to show you guys all the mistakes I made so you don't make the same mistakes. It's time you create massive wealth for yourself. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I got a good friend of mine who's crushing it in real estate, Airbnb, but more importantly, she's traveling all around the world and I'm kind of envious. Renee Jefferson, welcome to the show.
Hey Nate, how's it going?
Man, I'm doing amazing. I've been wanting to get you on our podcast for a while, but we're just now starting our podcast. You're one of our first guests, and I want to thank you so much for your time and joining us. Just wanted to give a little bit of background to the people. So where are you? Can you tell us a brief story of where you came from and how you were raised?
Well, I was raised in Cincinnati, in the hood, in the projects, is where I came from. And then I moved to a neighborhood that you and I both came from, which wasn't so bad when I first moved there. But now I can't say it's the greatest. But it was a cool little neighborhood. But my parents were on Section 8. So we lived in Section 8, and when we lived in that new neighborhood, we moved into a house that was also Section 8. I do remember a time that growing up, we partied. My dad partied a lot and, didn't pay the bills, and our water got turned off for like 3 months.
Wait.
We were
So
stealing water from the neighbors.
So not the good type of partying, like I throw parties at my house. The kids be like, my daughter be like, Dad, when you having another party? Not that type of party,
it
huh?
was fun. No, it was fun parties. It was like all the people from the neighborhood would come over. We had a really good time, but they chose to spend their money on partying, and we didn't get our water bill paid.
So
and,
you had
and the
you had
water
a
was
good
turned off.
time. You had a good time partying until you ain't had no water.
Man, we didn't have water for like 3 months, and we were stealing water from the neighbors. It was going. It was bad. It was bad, and that was that. You know what? And honestly, it was that type of living and that type of struggle that made me want more out of life. So it gave me the drive. Like, oh hell no, I am not going to be living like this. I want to make sure that I can pay my bills on time every month, and be smart with my money and things like that. So that
So
taught me a really valuable lesson.
so where did you go? So you grew up. You grew up in Seven Hills with me. I know. You said it wasn't a bad neighborhood, but to me, I felt like it was a bad neighborhood. We was selling crack when we was little kids, but you came from the real hood. You came from Winton Terrace. So moving from Winton Terrace to Seven Hills, yeah, that was a bit of a transition, bit of a difference. But what did you do?
Nate,
Huh?
you lived on a different street than I did.
Yeah.
So your street, I didn't go on your street.
Yeah. You got. We was up there on Roosevelt. You was at the bottom of the hill, so it was quiet down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It
what you
was
had to
much
drive. You had
quieter,
to
yeah.
drive through the top of the hill to get out, though. So, so tell us, what did you do with your life from there? You kind of grew up. You saw your parents be irresponsible, like me, with money. What did that teach you, and where did you go from there? Did you go to college immediately? I mean, what did you do with your life? Because I lost
So
track of you. I didn't even realize until, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, who you were even.
yes. So actually, I did not finish high school. I dropped out of high school at the age of 17 because I was pregnant. Um, And then soon after I had my daughter, I enrolled myself into like a community college, and that community college was whack as hell because I thought I was so smart because I used to get good grades. I mean, I was planning on going to college. But then after that, I moved away to another state, and I actually did enroll myself in college, and I paid for college out of pocket. Things that, even before then, I was learning, I was reading a lot of self-help books and just trying to make sure that I put myself on the right path and make up for what I potentially did not learn during that period.
Mm-hmm.
From graduating high school and going off to college immediately after that. So So I put myself through college, and I was going to a community college. I had a daughter. I was in another state, and I was working it. I was, figuring stuff out, and just trying to live life. And then um, after that, I got married, and so from there, me and my husband started getting into real estate.
And how old were you when you started getting into real estate?
So when I got into real estate investing, I was probably mid 20s, because I actually started in the real estate industry in my early 20s. I started from property management to becoming a realtor. So that, and also did mortgage lending and stuff like that. But when I actually started investing, I was probably about 26 or 27.
Wow. And so how have you levered up financially? You know me, I've levered up through real estate, through leveraging real estate. I think you got a similar path. So how were you able to lever up?
So actually, my first house that I bought, my first primary residence, had a lot of equity in it. I bought it from through a program, and there was about 300,000, no, 250 to $300,000 in equity when I
Wow.
purchased it.
Wow.
So I
That
was
was great.
able to refinance, pull that money out, and buy more real estate.
So you
So
did
I
the
was doing the
Burr,
Burr
the same
method.
thing I did. There you
hmm
go. Didn't even know what it
Yeah,
was, huh?
didn't know what it was. That was in, what was that, about 2006, maybe somewhere around
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, doing the Burr method. Was able to leverage from that. Was able to buy some foreclosed properties, because there was plenty of them back then, and you could still negotiate the price down, and put a little bit of money in it, and later on, of course, the property appraised for more.
Mm-hmm. And then so that was
hmm
2006. Then what did you do from 2006 to today in real estate that allowed you to just jet set? Because I see you live everywhere. You live down in Panama. You go over to Egypt. I mean, you've been everywhere. And I'm truly envious, because I'm not envious because you're my friend, but I'm like, man, that's the life I want to live. I don't care how much money you got. Most people do not ever get to experience what you've done with your life. Tell us how you've been able to raise a family, and even take the kids on trips and change not just their mindset, but the way that they're going to raise their kids, and why that was
So,
important to you.
so actually, I basically did the same steps that I just told you about. Shortly after purchasing our first rental properties, my husband passed away. So
Sorry to hear
um,
that, Renee.
when he passed away, that changed my entire mindset. It changed my entire life, and from that point on, I just was like, I want to live a better life. I want to make sure I have that freedom and flexibility, and time was extremely important to me. So I focused on acquiring more property that would increase my income, would increase my cash flow, plus would appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So so that would also allow me to have that freedom and flexibility that I was looking for. Because at that point, I was going through this awakening and this transition, and I was like, I just need to be able to do whatever it is, face whatever fears that I had, because I didn't travel as much then. He was traveling all over the place, and I was, at home. I was working, didn't really want to travel, because I didn't want to travel that far. Australia, stuff like that. I was like, that's way too far for me. But after that, I just started traveling everywhere. I just had to create a different life, and I created a different mindset based off of the fact that he was 36 years old when he passed away, and I was 31, and he was extremely young, and it was just sudden. And so I realized at that point, time waits for no one, and
Yep.
you have to do all you can while you can. And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what I continue to do to this day. It's like I just want to do all I can while I can, and that's why I travel as much as I can, and and created that passive income. It's so important for me.
So it's truly the passive income that helped you lever up to be able to go out and travel around the world.
hmm
And so what is
Yes.
it? So I know you just bought you a new lake house up in Georgia, right? You got you a place down in Tampa. You got you a place in Cincinnati. You got a place in Panama, right? Man, how can people
Yes. So
learn
the
from you? I
goal,
know you got a couple books out. What kind of books
I
you got
do,
out?
I do.
Go ahead. What?
So the goal for me was to be able to live mortgage free.
Okay.
So, collecting the properties and creating that passive income, but also living mortgage free. So I sold a house that I had. It was a 6 bedroom, 5 bath. It had like 5 living spaces. It was a huge office. It was a really big house. I
The
sold
one you had
that
on the
because
golf course, right?
the one I had on the golf course, yes. So
Whoa, whoa,
I
whoa, wait,
sold
wait, wait, wait.
that.
Can I just say something? See, all you
Yeah.
guys out here, y'all got this big old house. All y'all gonna do is work until y'all 60 years old, realize the house is too big. Then you're gonna want to do what Renee's been doing her whole life. Renee, please tell them how you use that house to financially fund and do everything that you've been doing and lever up.
Okay, so what I did was, after living there for a while, I sold that house, right? My goal was to be able to have smaller homes. I wanted to downsize and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to simplify my life and make sure that, of course, everything pays for itself. So I downsized and found well, when I sold that house, I actually didn't have a place to move into. I
Wow.
went to Florida. I stayed there for like a month in a Airbnb, trying to say, okay, so where are we gonna live? Um, I, it was me and Quante and the kids, and it was like, where are we gonna live? And so we ended up. I found a house in back in Cincinnati. It was actually a multi-unit, and I bought it for $50,000. I put 110,000 in it. I completely fixed it up. It currently rents for 1450 for the upstairs, and the downstairs, which is where I was living, which was a huge adjustment because that I went from about 5,000 square feet to 1,200 square feet. So that apartment was 1,200 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
stayed there. It was fine. I mean, I was completely fine with that. And then then I moved out of that and put that on Airbnb, and that cash flows for about 5,000 a month. So overall, that whole building cash flows for about 6,500 a month, somewhere around there. Plus, it appraised for 350. So all in, I was $160,000. It appraised for
Wow.
360, and it cash flows every month about $6,500.
That's amazing.
So that was one. That was one, and then from there, actually, um, I also wanted to talk to you and tell you about how I got to the Airbnb, because I just told you that I did put that one on Airbnb at the other apartment that I was in. So going back, 2016, I sold another house that I was planning on moving to. I was planning on doing the same thing with another property, and I immediately regretted it. And it was a larger multifamily that I was looking to buy because, again, the goal was to live mortgage free. So
Mm-hmm.
one
Mm-hmm.
unit would pay for the other unit, right? I
Yep.
ended up selling that one because I was going down to Panama and I didn't know when I was coming back. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to Panama. I'm going to stay here for a few months or whatever. And then when I got back, I was like, oh, shoot, I need to find a place to do the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I found some land and I ended up building on that land. It had beautiful views. The goal was to build 3 townhouses. Two of them I would sell, and then one I would live in mortgage free. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that didn't happen. I ended up creating a team, and we built 4 of them, and then sold it to another developer later last year. Actually, it was about
Yeah, those were
95%
beautiful,
complete.
Renee. The
But
views were amazing. That was just a beautiful
uh,
project. You're great at designing.
that project was breathtaking, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I should have definitely kept one of these for myself." So
It's
while
in
I was
Cincinnati though,
doing
Renee. You travel all over the world. Why would you want to come back here?
well, I have to have a place wherever I go. So I still have my place there.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I have multiple places there now that I can use because they are all on Airbnb. Um, so So while I was doing pre-development on that particular development, I actually started my Airbnb, my vacation rental business. So
Whoa,
at
so
the
that's
same
where you
time.
started at? Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I started that one at 2018, around the time or right before breaking ground on the development. So I started my Airbnb. That was going really, really well. As soon as I put it on the market, they were just I started getting reservations like fast. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. And it was
Mm-hmm.
very exciting. I really love the vacation rental business. I really
Now,
love it.
what's your
So
most
fast.
profitable? What's your most profitable area?
Well, I have everything in Cincinnati pretty much. The Airbnb that I bought in Tampa, I am currently living in it
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
I don't have my another house to live in right now. So right
Mm-hmm.
now, it's all of my properties are in Cincinnati, with the exception of the this one and then the lake house that I just bought. So so then I bought some property downtown Cincinnati, which I've been planning on getting there because it was like during the time where new construction was starting to happen years ago. People would say, "You need to buy downtown. You need to buy downtown," and I was like, but I ended up getting in, and the property that
Mm-hmm.
I bought it for about 400, almost $500,000, and that also appraised at about seven. It appraised about $200,000 more at this point.
That's the one you
So
took me through. That's over by Finley Market.
yes,
Oh,
yes,
that's
that one.
amazing, amazing location.
Yeah, and that one I bought turnkey. So I bought it with the furniture in it, everything, and I was
Oh,
able
wow.
to start making money off of that one immediately as well. And then how I got to back down to Tampa. Tampa, yeah. Look, I'm starting to forget where am I? Am I in Panama? Am I Tampa? Where am I at right now?
That's a good thing. That's a
when
good
I
thing.
So I had actually put another offer on another house in Cincinnati that was not accepted. And so since it wasn't accepted, I was like, you know what? Let me just redirect. I really want to be somewhere where it's warm. And that brought me to Panama. In 2 days, I found this house and I was like, okay, that's it. I came down here just for a 2 day weekend and I was like, I'll take that one. And then I just bought it. So, um, so that's how I just started accumulating my Airbnbs and I absolutely love it. So the lake house that I just bought is actually my vacation rental. It's actually a destination vacation rental. So it's a true vacation home. And I'm really excited about that because of the location where it's at. And I can't wait to get into that one and rehab it and get it on the market and enjoy it myself. So that's what I do love about the vacation rental business is that it's that personal use aspect of it. So you make money, you cash flow off of it. It pays your mortgages. So you basically own a house or building or whatever, mortgage free because it pays for itself. It pays you, and you have that personal use aspect of it, which is very, very nice. And that is the
And
reason why I am focused on going to different areas and being in areas where I want to be, so that
mm-hmm,
they
mm-hmm.
can all pay for it. Yeah.
And then you're also so you get free utilization of them. Are there some tax benefits that you're getting out of them as well?
Yeah, you get some tax benefits as well because anytime you own real estate, you get tax benefits. But you also when you own vacation rental properties, for instance, the lake house, if I was to only rent it out, I think it's like a 14 day. Is it 14 day? Uh, if I only rent it out a few days out of the year, then I could take the tax benefit. Otherwise, I have to pay the taxes on the vacation rental.
Okay, okay. And then so
Yeah.
you know, so you've been through a lot in life. You kind of grew up lower income, had a child real young, but you've been able to push through adversity. There's a lot of people that are watching right now that are going through the same thing, that have been through, and maybe they're your age, maybe they're older, and they still haven't found a way. If you could tell them one thing that would help them out, what would that be?
So the one thing that I learned as a child is, I knew that if something can be done, I can do it. And actually, I got that from that Reading Rainbow. I
Reading
can
Rainbow.
do anything. The Reading Rainbow. Take a look. It's in the book. It's Reading Rainbow. Yes, I learned that you can do anything, and I truly, truly believe that if it can be done, I can do it. So I adopted that mindset at a very, very young age. So I would just say to, focus on what you want to do in life and figure out how to monetize it. So if it's something that, mostly I tell people to figure out what you love to do so it doesn't feel like work. And that's basically how I am able to work and travel and do the things that I love to do, because I just wanted to create a business that didn't keep me in one spot. I wanted something with the freedom and flexibility to allow me to move around. I didn't have any, and I still don't have any overhead. I don't have any employees. It's really just investing. It's freedom. Yep, it's investing. It's low overhead. It's just a simpler way of doing things for me personally. Like I said, my time is important, and I just don't really want to. I don't want to impede on my time as much as I just want to do what I want to do.
So your style, your management style is keep it stupid simple, right? Keep it stupid simple, keep it small. And you said it, guys, look, time is a lot more important than money. And I know a lot of you guys that don't have no money, you don't understand that. But Renee, I know you've written a few books and great books. Can you explain to us, and actually, do you got a copy of the book? Can you show us what they look like and where they can get them at?
I do. This is The Life I've Created, and you can find this on Amazon. This is about it's a memoir. It's talking about my journey and how I got to where I am. And then I also wrote Airbnb and Me. So for those people who want to learn about Airbnb, I have this book, and I also have a course. And you can find my books on Amazon.com. And you can also find my course or contact me on realestateyourlife.com. That is realestateyourlife.com.
Okay, we'll put the link in the description for both the books and realestateyourlife.com. What about the Airbnb? Let's say somebody only has $5,000. They just got their income tax back. Is it possible for them to do an Airbnb? And how much money, if they're doing you want to explain what an arbitrage is, if they do something like that?
Yeah. So you can absolutely do rental arbitrage. Right now, I would say in some areas, it is a bit difficult because the rents are now exceeding the mortgage. So for instance, here in Tampa, I've been looking to do some rental arbitrage here, but we're looking at $3,500 just for rent. So,
Wow.
In certain areas, you may be able to still do it in Memphis. We're looking in Memphis for rental arbitrage, and we may be able to do something like that. But yeah, you absolutely do not have to own any property. But me as an investor, I prefer to own property because you also get other benefits for owning the property. Because last year or 2020, when the pandemic first happened, I lost all of my Airbnb income because everybody stopped traveling, right? So the account just went, the pandemic, the account just went to zero. So what I had to do is I had to end up renting those places out long term until we got through the pandemic. But with arbitrage, people are scaling massively with arbitrage, and they've been doing it for a very long time. So it's absolutely doable. Not everybody wants to be a landlord. Not everybody wants to invest like that. So I realized that. And I also talk about that in my course as well. But again, since I am an investor, I love the benefits of purchasing. And in some cases, just like the property I was telling you about that I put 160 in and it appraised for 350. Certain situations like that, where you do the BRRRR, you end up pulling back your money that you put into it plus additional money, and essentially it's almost like a no money down type of thing.
Now, how much money were you able to pull out of that deal in cash over and above and beyond how much you had in it?
I pulled out about 250.
250. So you put out an extra 90,000. Now, how much taxes did you have to pay on that 90,000?
I do not know. It's been a while, so
No. But okay, so you don't have to pay taxes on this alone, right?
Oh yeah, that's a loan. Actually, I did a home equity line of credit on that.
So home equity line of credit, you pulled out $90,000. You had to pay no taxes. Why isn't everybody doing this?
Yeah, and with the home equity line of credit, since I used to live there, I was able to do the home equity line of credit, and of course, you get that for about 10 years, and you get to use it and reuse it as much as you, which is much better than mortgage because you get to pay it down a lot quicker. You're paying more to your principal than you are
Mm-hmm.
in a mortgage,
Yep.
and you get to anytime you pay some of it off, you can still use it again to purchase more property. So
There you
that's
go.
one strategy that
Mm-hmm.
that I like to use as well. Some other strategies I used to acquire property was I forgot what it was called because I used to do this all the time, but I would get property, and you might know the name of it. It's just leaves me right now, but I would get property from people who no longer want their properties or no longer can afford the mortgage, and I'll just take over the mortgage and
Yep.
and then they would give me the property, no money down, and I
So they
take
would
over the
quick claim it
mortgage,
over
and
to
then
you.
they quit claim it over because it has
Mm-hmm.
to be in my name. I take over the mortgage for X amount of years, and then I pay it off or whatever.
Now is that
Or
something that
they,
you is that something that you teach in your academy, your course, your one-on-one? Is that something that you teach people how to do that?
I have not necessarily taught that in that course, but I may add that to another course because
So
this one was really mostly focused on.
let's go
Mhm.
into your course. What is your course mainly focused on? What can people expect to learn on that?
So it's focused on passive income through short-term rentals,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I do give them a little bit of information on investing as well and how to use other people's money and other people's properties, which is the rental arbitrage. So they do get a little bit of a mix of everything.
So how much money do they need to start if they wanted to arbitrage? They don't have a lot of money, Renee, and maybe they're in your shoes. Maybe they're 22 and they were going through what you were going through at the time. You know, you struggled with your kid. You were on Section 8, but you fought through and you became a real estate millionaire. And now you travel the globe. Someone is looking at you saying, how can I do that, Renee? How much money do they need to start? And what would be the path of least resistance for them?
And I would say people who might be financially struggling, and if they had their income tax and they want to start there, because when you're doing rental arbitrage, you have to obviously pay your first month's rent. You got to pay your deposit. You might have to pay your last month's rent. Then you also have to pay for your license or whatever your state or city requires for Airbnb. Then you also have your furniture, you have all your utilities and stuff like that that you have to pay for upfront in some cases. So I would say, depending on the price point of the property, depending on how big the property is, I would say somewhere between five and if you can get it under 10,000 would be great to start. But that includes your deposit, that includes your rent, your first month's rent, your last month's rent, and your license, which is probably about 250. I know in Cincinnati it's like 250, and whatever furniture, if you find some bargain furniture, then you can keep that budget together. Then you should be able to
Now I know
start with that.
you're really good at design, and your places they stay rented. What tools can they look at to make sure that the area is what is it? You told me it was Air DNA is where you look at to make sure that the area you're going into is a good area.
Yeah, so you can check and see what other properties are renting for on AirDNA. You can also, AirDNA does charge you, and I think some of the stuff they block out. So you might not actually get the numbers for AirDNA, but you can also look on MashVisor. And another way to do it, which is free, is to go on Airbnb itself and just comp out your properties from Airbnb, the Airbnb site.
And how much do a good Airbnb? How much can somebody expect to make if they're doing the arbitrage? What do you think they can expect to make a year off of that?
Well, I would generally say, if you can make like $1,000 a month off of your Airbnb, that's really good. So let's say,
Whoa, wait,
you
wait,
just kind
wait.
of
So
if you're
you're putting up 10 grand and you're making 12 grand back a year. That's 220% return, guys. That's unbelievable. That is
Yeah, and in
unbelievable.
some cases it might actually be more than that. I'm just giving you a kind of like a rule of thumb. So
Mm-hmm.
basically you take the daily rate and you add to that daily rate, but you also want to check and see what the neighborhood is renting for. So before you even go into rental arbitrage and into Airbnb, check the numbers and see what the area is renting for.
Okay, so Renee, you've written 2 books. You've come out of, poverty. Me and you both grew up in the same neighborhood together. You've single mom. You've overcome that. You've become a real estate millionaire. You've traveled the globe. You're living the life of your dream. What's next for you? What are you going to do next? What do you want to do next?
I'm truly just focused on the vacation rental market at this point. I love it. I just decided that, I'm going to stick with aligning what I do with who I am, or who I am with what I do. Because I love to travel and I love to collect real estate. Like, I love collecting properties and holding them. So at this point, I just am focused primarily on the vacation rental business. And
so
I just want to travel the world. And
you're going to do more of what you've already done. You're going to, so what is the one place that you say, you know what, I got to own a place here. I have to have an Airbnb here. What place is that?
So let me just tell you, in 3 years, I'll be 50. My son will be graduating. My last child will be out the house. I am taking a year to travel the world. And once I do that, I'll start figuring out where else I want real estate, because I know I want something in Africa. I know I want something in Europe. And I'll be purchasing exciting. I'll be purchasing in Panama next year. This year we were renting there, which is nice too, because you kind of get a feel for wherever you want to be. So we actually have a place there that we are renting. But next year I'll be purchasing in Panama, and I'll be purchasing in some other parts of the world as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And right now, with the lake property, I'm very excited about that. Where else would I want one here in the United States? I don't know. Right now, I really want to focus international.
Yeah, international. I had somebody reach out to me yesterday and ask me if I wanted to buy something in Italy. They said they got some properties over there really cheap. Yeah, you like Italy?
Yeah, I've been hearing about that. Yes.
Yeah, I heard it was really cheap over there. Man, I don't know, man. I like the South, man. I want to go to Australia. January, I want to go to Australia. That's their winter. Too far for me. Too far? You got to travel the globe, though. Man, I'm trying to go to Mars.
I know. I mean, you know what? If I'm over that way, I'll have no problem with it. But traveling from here 20 out, that is, how traveling is exhausting. It really is. It is exhausting.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I've been 18 hours, China. I love it. You just got to get good seats on the plane. You kick back, relax, huh?
It is. I've been to China. Look, if I'm over that way, I'm over that way. So that's what I do. Like when I went to Egypt, I went to Egypt and Dubai. Or was it Egypt? No, it was Egypt and Thailand. So it was Bangkok, then Phuket. So all in that same time. I took 3 weeks. I was like, look, I'm on this side of the world. We're going to be on this side of the world. When I went to France, I went to a bunch of different places there. Then we flew over to we were in Italy, we were in Nice, we were in Monaco.
Oh, wow,
we went
Monaco.
To Athens, we went to
I want to go to Monaco. Oh, man, you went all over the place.
Yeah, because when you're there, you gotta, spend the time because traveling is exhausting. I don't want to go over the Atlantic and then come back over the Atlantic or the Pacific or whichever route we end up going. I want to be over there and go as far as I can. Plus, when you're there, it's cheaper to fly. To other countries.
Yep, and quick.
Yeah, so.
Yep, much quicker.
Yeah, get it in while you're there.
Well, Renee, I am proud of you on what you've been able to accomplish. I look forward to what this next decade for me and you both do, and look forward to hopefully one day we get an opportunity to partner on a project. I know we would love to partner with you on an Airbnb. I know you crush it on Airbnbs. I just want to thank you so much, guys. Go ahead.
Nate, before you go out, actually, my vacation rental is going to lead me to hotels, boutique hotels, and then hotels. So that's where I will see you on that side.
Boutique. Okay, so we're going to do some hotels together. There you go. Well, I want to do big hotels. I just want to do big.
I know, because you're already in that big hotel space. I'm going to probably start with boutique and then climb to the big hotel space. Who knows? My point is I want to do things that I want to do that kind of fits me and my personality.
Yeah, the 110, 150 room hotels is kind of where I want to be, limited service. The big box 300 room ones right now are getting decimated still from COVID. The conferences haven't come back yet, but I saw a boutique hotel. It was a half acre in South Carolina in Charlotte. they wanted 15 million just for the half acre, right? And you could build a 50-room hotel, but then it was worth about 35 million because, you know, the average daily rate was high. So that would be something boutique. So something small like that in a great area would be awesome, easy to run.
They have some really nice one in Costa Rica. I've been looking at Costa Rica. I've been looking at Panama.
Oh, you know, I got
it
one
would be
down
nice.
there. I got one. I got one down there that's on the water. It's 40-something rooms. The guy sent me for like $1.5 million. Beautiful. I think it's in.
Did you buy it?
Nah, I ain't buying that. It's too much to manage for me. For you, you would be great at it. I didn't even think about you. But I'm gonna send it over to you, Renee. You let me know what you think.
Okay,
I know where you'll be moving next.
Look, I will be there. Like, Quante was just in Costa Rica, and he goes there often. And I'm like, yeah, I definitely want something in Costa Rica. And a boutique hotel would be perfect because, again, you can stay there when you want, and you can have somebody manage it, and it's not, like, overwhelming. But I do know and since that's a destination place, I would imagine it'd do well. Of course, I got to check everything out. But I know that, you know, you got to have a certain amount of rooms for a hotel to be profitable. So we'll see.
Well, Renee, again, I want to thank you for coming on, guys. Make sure you check her out. Link is in the bio down there. Renee, I will see you when you coming back to Cincinnati. When I'm going to see you again?
I'll be there in 2 weeks.
I'll probably be gone, but I'll see you. No, I'll be here. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'll be there in 2 weeks. We'll catch up.
Okay, well, I'll see you later. Tell Q I said hi, and you have an amazing week.
All right. Bye, Nate.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to Lever Up Your Life. If you could do me a huge favor and go lever up my reviews, leave me a 5-star review. I appreciate it. And if you guys want to keep the conversation going, reach out to me on Nate.Barger on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And get in our free Facebook group. We got over 200,000 members. BRRRR Invest. We'll see you in the next episode.